Dear students, today our topic is devolution and distribution of power in Sri Lanka. In this topic, you will learn about number first, basic understanding of concepts such as devolution and decentralization. Number second, importance of devolution and distribution of powers. Number third, understanding the devolution and distribution of power in Sri Lanka. Dear students, let us begin with the basic understanding of concepts. Sri Lanka is a small developing country that follows the Westminster model of cabinet government with a French-style executive president at the top and a system of provincial councils underneath and a public sector designed to provide further support to cabinet. The political system is highly adversarial with two main political parties, Sri Lanka Federal Party and United National Party, which have alternated in power since independence. Both parties have contributed to the decentralization and devolution efforts in its regimes. Decentralization of power as a concept. Decentralization of power means the assignment of some of the powers vested in the central government upon regional units of administration or otherwise. The devolution of the powers of central government upon regional units in order to facilitate administrative functions and also to involve regional individuals in administrative activities. One outstanding feature evident in the decentralization of power is that it is implemented through an act passed by the legislature. Similarly, it must be noted that such power can be revested in the central government at any moment. The best example of this that can be given is the decentralization of power on local government bodies in Sri Lanka. Through the decentralization of power, the responsibility of formulating plans, management, acquisition of resources and their distribution have been assigned to regional level administrative bodies, local government bodies, provincial governments, semi-independent public authorities and corporations. Decentralization of the power of the central government can be implemented in various ways. Decentralizing the pattern of administration is one of them. It will be possible to understand how the administrative powers from national level to regional level have been decentralized from the example like national level, district level, regional level, Gram Niladhari divisional level. Next is Ministry Secretary, District Secretary, Regional Secretary, Gram Niladhari. Assignment of the functions of central government to regional administrative units is one aspect of decentralization of power. Under this formation of the local authorities, local government bodies, municipal councils, urban councils, regional councils can be given as examples. Another aspect of decentralization of power is the assignment to regional units the powers that belong to state enterprise or state authorities. In this regard, necessary powers have been given to different departments, corporations and authorities to run state enterprise. For example, State Petroleum Corporation, Sri Lanka Ports Authority, etc. Number second concept, devolution of powers. The assignment of executive, legislative and judicial powers vested in the central government to local government bodies by act of parliament is considered as devolution of power. This can be implemented only through the constitution. The existing constitution should be amended if power is devolved newly by any means or powers which were devolved are subject to amendment. Next important point, that is reasons for the devolution of powers in modern states. Number first, need for unity to be built up amidst diversity. What this implies is that while respecting the identity of groups, speaking different languages, following different religions, and belong to different ethnic groups, collecting all such groups under a common principle of nationhood to participate in the functions of government. Number second, the difficulty of administration form a single central position because of the size of the state. Number third is ensure national security. Now, moving to history of decentralization of power in Sri Lanka. The concept of decentralization of power is not novel to Sri Lanka. When observing the systems of government that prevailed in the distant past of Sri Lanka, it is obvious that decentralization of power had taken place in different forms to facilitate the functions of government. Examples: appointment of officials named Gambara Gamini by King Pandu Kabaya during the Anuradhapura era to govern villages. Appointment of local government officials with administrative powers by King Parakrambahu during the Pulanruwa era. Number third, appointment of local government officials to maintain the condition, nature of the governance unchanged with the migration of Westerners. For example, appointment of a resident officer at provincial level by the British in 1815 AD. Dear students, now let us learn the manner in which power has been decentralized in Sri Lanka during the British colonial era. The manner in which decentralization of power had taken place during the British rule can be identified by the Act on Municipal Councils in 1865 AD. In 1865 AD and 1866 AD, municipal councils were established based on Colombo and Kandy cities respectively. British governance has immensely influenced the present situation in Sri Lanka, in which decentralization of power has been established. Village councils, Gam Sabha, were established in 1871 AD. An ordinance enacted in that same year assigned the village councils provision to solve minor disputes arising in villages and to solve the problems related to agriculture and irrigation and provide health protection. An executive committee appointed for local governance under Donomore constitutional reforms in 1931 extended the powers of village councils, Gam Sabha. In addition, establishment of urban councils in 1940 and the local government ordinance passed in 1943 further decentralized power in the British colonial era. Now, let us learn the attempts to decentralize power after independence. The existence of local government bodies could be noticed even after gaining independence in 1948. The political authority system was established in 1973 to decentralize power. This attempt was of the United Front government to provide leadership for the enforcement of administration at district level. Subsequently, district minister system in 1980 established the district development Sabha, abolishing the village councils and town councils. Later in 1981, divisional councils, Pradeshya Mandala and village councils, Gramodaya Mandala, started functioning and Pradeshya Sabhas were created according to Pradeshya Sabha Act number 15 of 1987. Dear students, different opinions about the attempts to devolve power in Sri Lanka. Opinions on devolution of powers has been presented in Sri Lanka nearly a century ago. The proposal to establish a federal state in the upcountry regions forwarded by SWRD Bandaranaike in 1926 is prominent as an effort to devolve power. Bandaranaike Chilva Nayakam Pact signed between SWRD Bandaranaike and SJV Chilva Nayakam in 1957 and Dudley Chilva Nayakam Pact in 1965 are examples of attempts to devolve power after independence. But the enforcement of these pacts was not possible in the expected manner. In the recent past, in 1970s and 1980s, a tendency towards the process of power devolution could be seen. But then governments did not intervene directly and they were more inclined to decentralization of power than devolution of power. Establishment of provincial councils in Sri Lanka. Provincial councils were established by the 13th Amendment to the Constitution of 1978 and an Act of Parliament number 42 of 1987 based on the 9 provinces prevailed. Chapter 17A and Article 154A Clause 1 of the 1978 Constitution states, thus, subject to the provisions of the Constitution, a provincial council shall be established for every province specified in the 8th schedule with effect from such date or dates as the President may appoint by order published in the Gazette. Different dates may be appointed in respect of different provinces. The 9 provinces which were established under 13th Amendment to the Constitution are as Western, Northwestern, Yuva, Sabargamwa, Central, Eastern, Southern, North Central, Northern. The main impetus for the establishment of provincial councils was the devolution of political and administrative authority to subnational level to address the Tamils' interests. The 13th Amendment to the Constitution and Provincial Councils Act of 1987 were passed. These laws brought radical changes to the centralized form of governance, which Sri Lanka inherited from its colonial masters. Now, dear students, let us see the organizational structure of Provincial Council. The Provincial Council is organized into institutions such as Governor, the Chief Minister, the Board of Ministers, the members of the Provincial Council. The organizational structure can be illustrated by the diagram shown. Accordingly, an attempt is made to provide brief knowledge about the institutions, the Governor, the Chief Minister, the Board of Ministers, the Provincial Council. Let us detail them one by one. Governor of the province. A governor shall be there in each province and he is the delegate coordinator of the central government and the provincial council. The appointment of the governor is done by the president and his tenure is 5 years. The governor can resign before the end of his term. A governor can be removed by addressing a proposal passed by a 2/3 majority of the provincial council to the president. Article 154B, Clause 1 and Clause 2 of the Constitution of 1978 states about the governor. Thus, the governor shall be appointed by the President by warrant under his hand and shall hold office in accordance with Article 4B during the pleasure of the President. There shall be a governor for each province for which a provincial council has been established in accordance with Article 154A. Dear students, what are the powers and functions of governor? These are: summon the provincial council, prorogue and dissolution, addressing the council and sending messages, appointing the chief minister, board of ministers and other executive officials in the province, assenting to statutes passed by the provincial council, performing according to president's advice in emergencies, for example, failure of administrative machinery in the provincial council and financial instability, coordinating between the central government and provincial council, exercising his functions on the advice of the chief minister as a nominal executive. Now let us move to second post, that is chief minister and the board of ministers. It is mentioned in the 1978 Constitution that provincial councils in each province should consist of a chief minister and a board of ministers with not more than 4 ministers. They are selected out of the members of the provincial council. The main function of this board of ministers is to assist the governor in his functions and give him necessary advice. Appointment of the chief minister is one of the functions of the governor, and the person to be appointed should possess the consent of the majority in the provincial council. The governor should appoint the rest of the ministers on the advice of the chief minister. The chief minister and the board of ministers are collectively responsible and answerable to the provincial council. Powers and functions of the chief minister and board of ministers: render advice to the governor in the exercise of his functions, preparation of the provincial budget, drafting and execution of economic development and administrative plans of the province. Provincial councils. You have already realized that provincial councils were established in the 9 provinces into which Sri Lanka had been divided. Article 154, Clause 2 states that provincial councils will be constituted after the establishment of the legislature of each provincial council separately. Every provincial council established under Para 1 shall be constituted upon the election of the members of such council in accordance with law relating to provincial council elections. Article 154D, Para 1 of the Constitution states about the content of the provincial legislature. Accordingly, having regarded to the area and population of the province, the number of members is determined by or under law. The term of office of a provincial council is continued for a period of 5 years, and the expiration of the said period of 5 years is operated as a dissolution of the council. Every member of the provincial council is elected only by provincial council elections. The main functions of the provincial council legislature are to formulate and pass statutes on matters in accordance with the list of powers of provincial councils stated in the 9th schedule of the Constitution. Similarly, passing the budget of provincial council, making decisions relevant to development of infrastructural facilities are implemented. The election of the chief minister and the board of ministers is also executed by the legislature of the provincial council. Powers and functions of the provincial council. Powers have been classified into three lists according to the 13th Amendment to the 1978 Constitution. First list, provincial council list. Second list, reserved list. Third list, concurrent list. Accordingly, functions and powers have been classified under three main fields: central government, provincial council, concurrent powers, which both institutions can exercise. Major issues in the provincial council system. The devolution of powers and functions on provincial councils in Sri Lanka are largely based upon the powers and functions of the states in India. The 13th Amendment to 1978 Constitution of Sri Lanka indicates the devolved subjects to the provincial councils under list first, while categorizing the reserved subjects for the central government under list second. This specifies the reserved subjects as national policy on all subjects and functions. The list third specifies the concurrent subjects, those concurrently managed by the center and the provinces. According to Gunawardena, national policy on all subjects and functions in the list second has been always interpreted by the center to control the actions of provincial councils. Duplication of work and lack of clarity in devolved functions hinder effective service delivery. Further, lack of effective authority over finances and human resources and lack of skills in enactment of statutes by provincial staff have contributed to weakened provincial administration. According to the World Bank, Sri Lanka's provincial councils depend on center for more than 80% of its financing. At present, civil service salaries of provincial councils are over 65% of their total expenditures. The provincial councils spend only around 16% of their total budget on capital expenditures. This can no longer be justified. Huge amount of money is spent for survival, which is in fact wasteful. The first reason is when there is a wide devolution of power, there must be changes in the existing administrative structure of the country to give effect to such devolution. If power is devolved to provincial councils, there should be shrinkage of power in the central government. But Sri Lankan political leadership does not want it. There is a duplication of administrative structures and entities, which is the primary reason why provincial councils in Sri Lanka are a waste of money. The second reason is a large amount of money, 88%, has been allocated and released for recurrent expenses, including salaries and other maintenance costs, while insignificant amount has been allocated and released to provincial councils by the treasury for development work. Only 12% for capital expenditures from 2005 to 2008. The limited fiscal decentralization has resulted in limited progress in provincial councils. Now let us see towards local government bodies and local authorities. Local authorities in Sri Lanka have been established with the objective of facilitating the administration of the central government and with the aim of providing an efficient service to the public. The possibility of fulfilling public needs through the participation of the public as well as the public representatives based on certain land area can be seen through local authorities. Let us see the structure of local self-government. In the municipal council, there is a mayor and deputy mayor, urban council, chairman, deputy chairman, divisional council, Pradeshya Sabha, chairman, deputy chairman. Let us have a look on the powers and functions of mayor or chairman. He acts as the executive officer of municipal council, urban council, divisional council, Pradeshya Sabha, summon, preside and postpone the council. Formulation of budget and plans as well as obtaining approval from the council. Formulation of development plans relevant to their territorial limits. Coordination with central government and the provincial council. Providing public utility services. Another important post is deputy mayor or deputy chairman. Let us have a look for their powers. Rendering necessary assistance to the mayor of the municipal council, chairman of the urban council and the divisional council. Proceeding with the functions of the council at the absence of mayor or chairman. Then there is a general assembly. This can be regarded as the policy making body of local authority. It consists of representatives elected by public franchise in the respective areas of the local authority. Mayor, chairman, deputy mayor and deputy chairman are elected through this general assembly. Formulating of policies and plans, passing the council's budget, assisting the mayor, chairman to execute administrative functions are priority among the powers and functions of general assembly. One of the unfortunate consequences of concentrating attention on district and provincial units and supra-provincial units has been the neglect of local government institutions at the municipal and urban council levels and village councils. Sri Lanka is a unique case where discussions and negotiations on devolution of power have been conducted since 1950s without any reference to the reform and strengthening of local government institutions. The power and functions of municipalities remain as they were defined by legislation in 1947. Over the last 30 years or more, very little has been done to strengthen the financial basis of municipalities or of other local government institutions or their powers to initiate local development projects. The present debate on devolution of power would be much more realistic one if local government institutions were treated as an essential feature of devolution, as it was in Thailand's new constitution introduced in 1997, instead of being ignored almost totally. Dear students, while concluding this lecture, I must say that for greater economic and societal outcomes for Sri Lanka, it is imperative to have fewer layers in the administrative structure in order to make them cost effective. As Sri Lanka is a small multicultural developing nation state with an area of 65,610 square kilometers, it will be meaningful to abolish present provincial council system and devolve more powers to local governments such as municipal councils, urban councils and Pradeshya Sabhas at the grassroots level with proper legislations and effective management systems and procedures to serve the nation. Dear students, I hope you had enjoyed the lecture. Thank you.